Hello, this is Father David, here with day 27 of Great Lent 2024. The reading today for this Saturday, we find ourselves again outside of Isaiah as far as the readings are concerned, is from the Gospel of St. Mark, verses 31 through 37, the end of the chapter. And again, departing from the region of Tyre and Sidon, he came through the midst of the region of Decapolis to the Sea of Galilee. Then they brought to him one who was deaf and had an impediment in his speech, and they begged him to put his hand on him. And he took him aside from the multitude and put his fingers in his ears, and he spat and touched his tongue. Then looking up to heaven, he sighed and said to him, Ephphatha, that is, be opened. Immediately his ears were opened, and the impediment of his tongue was loosed, and he spoke plainly. Then he commanded them that they should tell no one. But the more he commanded them, the more widely they proclaimed it. And they were astonished beyond measure, saying, He has done all things well. He makes both the deaf to hear and the mute to speak. So, of course, we have, again, these kinds of signs of the Messiah coming. He does everything well. He ticks all the boxes, right? He checks off all the boxes. He's making the deaf to hear and the mute to speak. He's doing it all at the same time, so the word is getting out. He's telling them, don't spread this around. They're, of course, ignoring him. It's a beautiful thing that he sighs. The Orthodox Study Bible says, a sign of divine compassion for the sufferings of our fallen human nature. And yet we have this little note at the very beginning, not a note in the Study Bible, but I would note here, again in verse 31, departing from the region of Tyre and Sidon, he came through the midst of the region of Decapolis to the Sea of Galilee. Now, all through the Gospels, if you read through, the Sea of Galilee should be just something that trips our trigger, that we notice, because this really serves as a sort of water border between the Jewish lands of Israel and the Gentile lands beyond it. And we see Christ is always going across the Sea of Galilee. And this is something that he goes, in spite of what he said to the Syrophoenician woman, he is sent to the lost sheep of Israel. But what does that mean? Because ultimately the question is, is an Israelite only one who has been born through Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob's biological line? Or is it those who have embraced that faith through circumcision and all of this? Or does it also include the Gentile nations? And for the Christian, we see beginning with the Epistle to the Romans and St. Paul, and then going all the way through Christian history, very quickly, Gentiles came into the church as baptized Christians and were made members of Israel. And it's very clear, St. Paul says, that he is not an Israelite who is one only according to the flesh, through circumcision. He says, neither circumcision nor uncircumcision matters anything but a new creation. And we are given that new creation in holy baptism. So those who have been united to Christ, who have put on Christ through baptism, are now a part of Israel. And tragically, those who have not believed, even though they are physically members, sons of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, have, according to St. Paul, been cut off, at least for now. So in Romans 11, we're going to go into, it's not an epistle reading for today, but it's comparing Jews and Gentiles to the olive tree of Israel, and Israel as an olive tree. And the Israelites, according to the flesh, the physical descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, are like native olive branches, just the natural olive branches that have come off. But St. Paul is likening it to that because of their unbelief, their refusal to accept the Messiah, they have been cut off from the trunk of the olive tree of Israel. And he says, and if some of the branches were broken off, you, Gentiles, Romans, being a wild olive tree, were grafted in among them, and with them became a partaker of the root and fatness of the olive tree. But do not boast against the branches. But if you do boast, remember that you do not support the root, but the root supports you. You will then say, well, branches were broken off that I might be grafted in. Well said, because of unbelief they were broken off, and you stand by faith. But do not be haughty, cocky, but fear. For if God did not spare those natural branches, he may not spare you either. Therefore consider the goodness and the severity of God. On those who fell, severity. But towards you, goodness, if you continue in his goodness. Otherwise you also will be cut off. And they also, if they do not continue in unbelief, will be grafted back in. For God is able to graft them in again. And so we have this relationship in St. Paul's day, in this Christian era of the Jewish people, let's simply say that the physical descendants of Isaac and Jacob, and their relationship to Israel. But now, the Orthodox Church, the church founded by Jesus Christ, is that olive tree. It's not a replacement. We didn't cut the olive tree down and plant another one. This is Israel, and we can see this because just a couple of more verses down, he says, I do not desire, brethren, that you should be ignorant of this mystery, lest you be wise in your own opinion. That blindness in part has happened to Israel until the fullness of the Gentiles has come in. So there's a period of time where Gentile believers are coming in and being grafted to Israel, even while some of the native Israelite branches have been severed. So they will come in, this time of the Gentiles will occur, and then he says, and so all Israel will be saved, as it is written. The deliverer will come out of Zion, and he will turn away ungodliness from Jacob, for this is my covenant with them, when I take away their sins. Concerning the gospel, they are enemies for your sake, but concerning the election, they are beloved for the sake of the fathers. For the gifts and calling of God are irrevocable. And so, some people will say, when it says all Israel will be saved, what does it mean by all Israel? Jews and Gentiles, all who believe in the Messiah. And so, not that there is some sort of covenant with the Jewish people apart from Jesus as the Messiah, but that this is being mindful of the covenant. God will not abandon the people, the Jewish people, the Israelite according to the flesh, but they will now become full Israelites again. They will be grafted in through faith in their Jewish Messiah, and they will see him for who he really is. And so this little note, this healing of the deaf man, as we see in St. Mark's Gospel, the works of the Messiah being put out there, and yet this is being done around the Sea of Galilee, that border where he went across, seeking to find and proclaim and evangelize and heal and minister to both Jew and Gentile, that both of them might be made a part of the Israel of God through trust in the Messiah's sacrifice. So may the Lord God bless you. Lord willing, we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.